A very warm welcome to you on the AM show. Here we are, it's a Thursday morning, day number 4 in the week, and we're glad to have you as always. This is the AM show with Bernice and Benjamin. Now, coming up this morning, you know how we do it. The news will be served to you shortly, and right after that, aspiring parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the governing NPP, the New Patriotic Party, John Manche Akwete, is our guest. And then from there, we'll be looking at sports with Mubarak Haruna. He'll be bringing you the latest in that world, and then we get quickly into our big stories. Now, number 1, on the chopping board. We're going to continue our conversation on how the Akosombo Dam spillage is affecting residents living along the Volta River. We'll be hearing from some stakeholders who are working to alleviate the plight of these people, members of parliament, district chief executives, assembly people, among others. Also on our radar today, we'll be talking about HIV in Ghana per the current release from the Ghana AIDS Commission, with focus on antiretroviral medication, or ARTs, their supply to those who have been infected. Now, general care for persons living with HIV will also be on the chopping board, as well as the need for donation from corporate entities and individuals to support the Commission in its quest to achieve its objectives. All of that on our radar today. But speaking of the National Science and Math Quiz, the cookies are falling in their proper places, aren't they? Today, the semi-finals of the National Science and Math Quiz will take place, and we'll bring you 3 live contests all the way from 9:30 a.m. But before the contest, we'll be interacting with some of our sponsors, Build Financial Technologies and Beta Malt. Look forward to all of those conversations this morning on the AM show. But up next, stay with us for the news. Welcome on the news belt of the AM show. Let's get right into it. In our first story, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is tasking engineers from the Volta River Authority and officials from the National Disaster Management Organization with the responsibility of finding a more sustainable approach to handling the spillage of excess water from the Akosombo Dam. Now, the VRA commenced the spillage of the dam on September the 15th due to the rising levels of water, leading to flooding downstream. Dr. Bawumia spoke with the chiefs and people of Sokwe after touring some affected communities.
This is how the vice president touched down in the Saftong district capital, Sogakofe. His first point of call was New Bakba, thence to Komboni and Sokwe, where he interacted with chiefs and expressed his sympathy to flood victims. Dr. Bawumia described the devastation of property as major disaster and challenged officials of the Volta River Authority to find a more sustainable way of dealing with the spillage of the Akosombo Dam, considering the rising concerns of climate change.
This, I am told, is the biggest flooding disaster we have seen since 1963. So it's been 60 years since the last such disaster took place. And it has affected so many livelihoods, so many people, so much property, so many farms, so many fishing implements and so on. So it has devastated our livelihoods around this area. And when I look at the community in Sokwe, when I was coming in, so many places are flooded, so many houses. And it is a very sad event. And as I am here with you, let me really express my sympathies. Babanami, we will take into account all the needs that have been expressed. To be expressed a lot of needs for the community, and we will take all of that into account as the community, as the government prepares the support packages to the communities. It's very important that we look, as I have mentioned it already to VRA, that we need to look for long-term solutions to this flooding, because it will happen this year. we can deal with it now. What about next year? Because climate change appears to be taking hold. A few years ago, we were all worried about the water levels of the Volta Dam, that it was too low. Now we are worried that it is too high. And so we need to look for engineering solutions to the spillage of the water out of the Volta Dam, so that it doesn't affect the communities. Because if we don't look for long-term solutions, we'll have to be dealing with these disasters on a regular basis with climate change. So I've challenged VRA and NADMO to really put their heads together and get the engineers to work and look at how we can build a very efficient way of spilling the water over time.
Meanwhile, to add to government efforts, the Vice President personally donated a sum of 160,000 Ghana cedis to the 8 affected districts to support relief efforts. Here is the Minister of Information, Kojopo Nkrumah, presenting the cash donation to the chiefs and people of Sokwe.
He's been traveling across some of the towns to see for himself the impact of the relief efforts that we are putting in place. As he mentioned, the government support is in various stages. First is the temporary support for our brothers and sisters who have been displaced. And as he mentioned, there are 20 locations where the support is going. And so even this morning, I do understand that part of our relief efforts that were supposed to come here, came here this morning, as they are going to various other locations, and it will be done intermittently as the numbers are monitored, as the days are monitored, and as more support should be coming in that area. In addition to that, His Excellency the Vice President, in his own capacity, as he has been going around, has asked that we make available to the 8 communities or the 8 districts that have been affected by the spillage, his personal contribution of 160,000 Ghana cedis, which we are going to give to the regional minister to be used to support the victims in the 8 districts that have been affected. This is in addition to the government of Ghana support.
Reacting to the donation, some traditional leaders of the affected community say more relief items are required.
First of all, I would say that we thank the Vice President for passing through, at least to see whatever is going on. We all heard that he made a donation of 60,000, which is for the people of Sokwe. Honestly, we can't say we wouldn't take it, but it wouldn't be enough for those that have been affected with the spilling. If we look at the community, it's about 5 communities and even more, because yesterday it rained. So the rain had caught even more destruction. So we are now to know where the rain has caused the spillage, and then the rain has caused destruction too. So we don't have any say, but what we would do is, if the government will be able to do more for our people, we are not saying we wouldn't take whatever they are giving to us, but we would need more.
Instead of giving us pure water, we think it's be manageable for them to give us poly tanks and fill the water, or dig for water to flow than to give us pure water all the time. We can't have the pure waters they are giving to us, because it's not even enough for drinking.
With the support of the Volta River Authority and other state agencies, the National Disaster Management Organization is stepping up efforts to reach every affected Ghanaian across the 8 districts. Carlos Galoni, Joy News.
Now, the Dufia of Adidome, Togbe Kosinyi Kakaklolo Ajiman V, is pushing for the establishment of an effective disaster fund that will deal with major crises in the country. He says a fund like that can alleviate the sufferings of affected people. Togbe Kakaklolo was speaking to the press after the Tanker Owners Union of Ghana donated relief items worth 500,000 Ghana cedis to the affected residents. There's more in this report.
The flooding of various communities in the Volta region has stoked a debate on the preparedness of the country to handle disasters of that magnitude. Thousands of people have been dislodged from their homes, exposing them to many dangers. with NADMO, the country's disaster management organization, struggling to contain the situation. Togbe Kosinyi Kakaklolo Ajimon V, the Dufia of Adidome, says at this time the nation considers establishing a workable disaster fund.
I know that we've been talking about disaster funds here and there, but I think that what has happened now should tell us something, that as a nation, as a country, we need to have a proper disaster management fund. So I'd like to appeal to the government. I know the NADMO is quite stretched. Here, again, maybe corporate Ghana would also have to come in. Individuals will need to come in so that we all support.
According to him, such a fund can help in dealing with the aftermath of such a disaster.
So that such funds, when such things happen, imagine that the water recedes and then goes. What becomes of those who have lost their farms, those who have lost their homes? Some homes are broken down. Such funds could be tapped into and given to people those who have lost their capital, their money. They could give them certain capitals that can get them back on their feet.
The Tanker Owners Union of Ghana, responding to pleas for help, has donated 500,000 cedis worth of relief items to the affected residents. Ignatius Kokudo is executive secretary of the union.
It's our hope and aspiration that we have been able to alleviate part of their suffering. Because in the midst of all this, in fact, there will be hunger, there will be no food, people don't have any access to food now, people don't have any access to anything. So we believe that this is
Now, the paramount chief of the Laura traditional area, Na Powele Kabo III, is worried that some key projects started by government a few years ago have stalled. He cites the Laura Senior High School Assembly Complex, the Laura Municipal Hospital, and the Dikpe Bridge projects as examples. He spoke at the climax of the Kobine Festival, where Rafiq Salam now reports.
Laura Na Powele Kabo III first commended government for initiating some key projects in the traditional area aimed at bettering the lives of the people.
It will be recalled that last year I reported that some projects, which are considered as legacy projects of government, were ongoing and at various stages of construction in the traditional area. These included Laura Senior High School Assembly Hall Complex, the GX Center being constructed at Kuma, Zambo Girls Senior High School project, the Laura Municipal Hospital infrastructure upgrading project. Others were the construction of Laura Haynes Road, the Dikpe Bridge across the Black Water project.
He was optimistic that most of the aforementioned projects would have been completed by the time they celebrate this year's festival. The projects, according to him, have however significantly stalled.
We beg, however, to report that these key intervention projects have significantly stalled and progress is very slow in some cases. The Dikpe Bridge project has not seen any movement towards the start of construction as envisaged. Yet, in our view, to remain the game changer for the development of the municipality and the promotion of equal cooperation between our country and Burkina Faso.
Na Powele Kabo, who also doubles as the Vice President of the National House of Chiefs, also spoke about challenges faced by the Laura Municipal Hospital in infrastructure and other basic logistics.
For it to operate efficiently, the emergency ward project initiated 4 years ago by the Laura Development Authority, which is at the council administrative level, will be completed without any further delay. I am aware that the current management of the hospital has prioritized some much-needed projects in readiness for funding support.
Ghana is set to adopt a national plan on business and human rights to provide a roadmap for proper business conduct, respect for human rights, and good corporate governance. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says this is essential to promote business transparency and reduce corruption. He was speaking at the 14th Biennial Conference of the Network of African National Human Rights Institutions in Accra.
The 14th Biannual Conference of Network of African National Human Rights Institutions is the platform for African Network of Human Rights Institutions and other actors to deliberate on the situation of business and human rights in Africa. According to the network, in Africa, communities and individuals whose rights are affected by business-related activities have faced major challenges in accessing timely and effective remedies. Speaking at the event, the Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, noted that the plan to adopt a national plan on business and human rights will provide a roadmap for proper business conduct, respect for human rights, and good corporate governance.
As national human rights institutions, I entreat you to continue to monitor business operations and continue to investigate allegations of abuses and ensure that victims get needed remedies. The violations that do not get reported but come to your attention through your monitoring and engagements, take all the necessary steps available to you legally and in line with the Paris Principles to see to it that they are addressed.
The Commissioner of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, Joseph Whittle, says the Commission is liaising with the Attorney General's Department to ensure compliance on human rights issues in the business arena.
The Attorney General put together a steering committee of 18 persons in the public sector, private sector, civil society, a very multi-stakeholder steering committee to start the development of the action plan. They have gone through about all the 16 regions. They've met cross-sections of the public, and at the end of the day, we have a draft which they are currently fine-tuning. I must say that they also met with particular thematic groups, women, youth, disabled, Trade Union Congress, and so many others. So there is now a workable draft that is being finalized before we will then get the state input, and finally it will be validated and launched.
Karen Obeng's report read to you.
Now, a series of activities has been planned to promote Asante heritage and culture among the youth for socio-economic development. The Ashanti Festival and Cultural Exhibition is an initiative of an NGO, Legacy Foundation, focused on harnessing the power of traditional values in youth empowerment. There's more in this report.
The Ashanti Festival and Cultural Exhibition aims to bring the youth together, encourage reflection on their cultural heritage, while fostering connections through a trade fair. With Ghana's abundant natural resources, economic triangulation is drifting the youth abroad. Asante Hinis Manrehini Bafo Osai Brain Chairman V questions the rising brain drain in the midst of abundance.
The cocoa industry is worth $130 billion. Only the United States, $30 billion. Netherlands, one being cry, it make $25 billion. Yeah, you produce 70% of the $130 billion. Yeah, me and saying a kabuma, yeah, dear woman, a 10 billion, a little over 10 billion. Adintra. Why is it so?
The chief spoke at the unveiling of the Ashanti Festival and Cultural Exhibition. Nana Kwame Trebimentu is the general manager of Legacy Foundation, organizers of the event slated for December 24th.
The proposed event has the potential to foster long-term economic growth, minimizing poverty, and improve quality of life in the Ashanti region.
The Ashanti Regional Chairman for the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Stephen Champon, emphasized the need to modernize and globalize Ghana's culture for socio-economic growth.
The good Ashanti culture needs to be developed, modernized, then added value and globalized. This is exactly what the developed countries did. Sankofa is needed. Let's go back to our rich culture, develop them, create jobs, wealth, and dignity for Ashanti.
Deputy CEO of the Middle Development Authority, Vincent Frimpong Menu, affirmed the commitment of the organization in supporting initiatives like the Ashanti Festival for socio-economic enhancement.
It's more like providence for us to work together so that we can deepen our culture and enhance and ensure that the young people would embrace our culture. We are ever ready to work with the organizers and ensure that we would deepen this relationship.
For Joy News, Kofi Asari's report, direct to you.
That's our recap of the news this morning. Thank you so much for staying, but would love it if you stayed further for the news review. Up next. Well, here we are on the newspaper review, and I'll be announcing my guest to you shortly. But before I do that, just to let you know, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is aiding us bring you this segment this morning, as they always do. And guess what? They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening as well. And here's where you can locate them all across the country. Here in Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. If you're in Kumasi, Krono Mabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and there's Seyama in Zema. Their call line 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Well, now, time for me to introduce my guest to you. Joining me for the newspaper review this morning, he's an aspiring parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the governing New Patriotic Party. John Manche Akwete is our guest. He joins this conversation this morning. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Ben. I hope you're doing well.
Right. And Ningo Prampram is the seat you are targeting.
Why not?
I like that. Why not?
I mean, why not when you have an MP who is not seen in the constituency?
Who's not seen in the constituency?
I mean, he's not seen anywhere in the constituency.
Okay.
Has left the constituents to themselves. Hasn't shown any leadership or any sort. It becomes necessary that young people like us who have lived in the constituency, understand the needs of the people of the constituency, go and inspire hope into the people and let them know that all is not lost. And the assurance we have given them is resonating with them. They believe that in 2024, change is inevitable.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, Ningo Prampram is an interesting constituency.
Yeah, it is.
From E.T. Mensah and his multiple terms there to St. George. The late E.T. Mensah, may his soul rest in peace. Yes. And then St. George wresting it from him through means that were not exactly friendly at the time.
Yes.
And now you also feel Sam is underperforming. What do you think about his response, though, as far as the Akosombo Dam spillage? You know he's been speaking on that as well. What do you think? What
has he said exactly?
Well, there have been claims about using, for example, the Saglemi affordable housing.
Yes.
It's the people themselves who have asked for it, among other things. And there have been thoughts about how we can use COVID-19 funding, to some of these purposes, because look, COVID-19 is no longer a pandemic and all of that.
I mean,
all these thoughts have come up.
Yeah, the plight of the people of the Volta region. Mepe brings a lot of memories, because when we were children, I used to belong to the Church of Pentecost. We attended a lot of conventions there. So Mepe and its environs.
It has a special place in your heart,
in my life. So I mean, we know what they are going through, and we are with them. And I understand that the Honorable Sam George also wants to appear to be concerned about their situation.
How do you know whether he's concerned or not?
Oh, but
I mean, he's out talking about stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's why I say.
So how do you determine his?
I mean, but when you have constituents who have more dire needs, then, for example, our roads in New Ningo and Old Ningo, even into his own hometown, Ahiam, you've not said anything about it. We've not heard you make any public statement about these things.
He doesn't construct roads, does he? I've had the benefit of. No, I'm not necessarily tying that to him because he did not. But I'm not necessarily saying these. I've had opportunity to host him here.
Yes.
And so I know some of his responses in this and some of the things he has said about the roads in that community and reaching out to the roads minister about certain things. That's why I'm asking you. The member of parliament doesn't necessarily. He can only. Lobby. Is that not the case?
So do you think he has done anything?
And when if you become member of parliament, it will be same. You will only lobby.
Why are you so sure about that, Ben?
You know what? Do you know what's interesting?
Let me tell you.
That enclave, do you know where Usibras is?
Yes, I know Usibras. Yeah.
I've worked there. So I know that enclave. I know the roads, I know the problems in that constituency.
You know, let me make a very humble and special appeal to the roads minister. Roads minister, since you came to power in 2017, you became minister. You have shown leadership. You have. In fact, he has constructed the Dawa to Minya Road. First of all, it has never happened before. He has constructed the Lepono to Minya Road. He has constructed the Minya to Ayatepa Road, and the people are very excited. But Honorable Minister, there are still more, especially the Old Ningo and New Ningo Township. And one other important road, which is the Dowenya Afienya Road. Honorable Minister, I'm appealing to you. Please, we know what you can do. We are depending on you to fix that road because when you leave, we don't know who else will do this road for us. So I'm using this medium to appeal to you. And also, when you get to the Afienya Mataheko stretch, there's a road inside Mataheko, especially when it rains. It's terrible. We are pleading with him this morning. On behalf of all the constituents of Ningo Pram Pram, to come to our aid and help us, fix this route. We'll be very, very excited. And the people have promised us that they know that they are confident in this government, that it is the government that will fix. In fact, all the major infrastructure works in Ningo Pram Pram were done by the NPP.
Okay.
Do you know? No, but let me finish.
I will not go into that. I will leave the politics to you politicians.
No, it's not politics.
I will not get into any of this.
This is development.
We'll get into the papers. But yes.
This is development. You know, New Ningo and Old Ningo used to be separated by a lagoon. We call it a Jangi Lagoon. For a long time, you had to cross with a canoe. J. Kufuor came to fix it for us. As I speak with you, a sea defense project is going on in Ningo.
Are you saying, Mr. Akwete, that the NDC has done nothing, absolutely nothing
I didn't say
in that constituency, and they have had so many terms in that constituency.
They've won all
from E.T. Mensa to
they've built a few
Sam George
school buildings.
They built a few school buildings. I like how you guys play.
I can't take that away from them. But I'm talking about major, infrastructure works, all done by the NPP.
Okay.
So the people believe that if anything meaningful, positive will happen to them, then it is the NPP government. That's why I'm pleading with the Roots Minister this morning to come to our aid. Ben,
all right,
I'm not doing politics.
I've told you, I'll stay out of the politics. If maybe someday, you know what we'll do? We'll get some George and then get you in the studio and unleash you people in terms of real ideas. No unnecessary banter, no insults. Maybe. A trade-off of ideas to talk about Ghana and with a focus as well on the constituency. Would you like that?
Oh, why not? But he will need a little orientation so he doesn't begin to chant.
He'll need a little orientation.
Yes, war songs and German. That's what is on making noise and all of that. When the people need real development, and that is what I'm offering them actually.
All right. So if I asked you right before we get into the papers, just make this very brief in 30 seconds. Okay.
Yes.
I'm putting you on the spot. I'm throwing a hot potato at you. The members of your constituency are watching you this morning.
Yes.
This is the widest broadcast network.
Obviously.
Tell them why someday they should vote for Mr. Akwete. If I asked you, what are you going to bring that has never been seen before? What would you say?
Thank you very much.
Speak to your people.
Thank you very much. The people of Ningo Pram Pram, this is your son, your brother, John Manchakwiti. I'm appealing to you this morning that you make me your next member of parliament. You understand the issues we have been through since 1992, where we've voted for people we believe belong to our party and have left us in a state of despondency. Our hopes have been dashed, especially when we thought we were voting for a young man to come and revive our fortunes. Unfortunately, 7 years down the line, the story has not just been bad, but has been worse. I am promising you hope. I'm promising to be a member of parliament who will be there for you, who will care for your needs.
Okay.
Somebody who has lived with you. Ben, I have lived in the constituency. I have been a corn mill operator in the constituency. I've schooled in the constituency. The decision makers, opinion leaders in the community right now are my classmates. We will together merge forces and bring development to the Ningo Pram Pram constituency.
Okay.
Young people who are looking for scholarships to go to school. I don't have money in my pockets, but I will fight for your dreams to come true.
Okay.
The water situation in Ningo will improve. The road network will be worked on. I'm promising you hope. I'm promising you a new type of leadership, a leadership that cares for the needs of the people.
Thank you, Mr. Akwete. But do you know part of why I made you do that?
Please tell me.
So that should you become member of parliament someday?
In 2024.
And should you not fulfill some of the things you're saying, we can play this back to you, just as we play back to other people. And this is your past. This is what you said. You see how we go dig from Mr. President to everybody else. So we can have you. Oh, he was on the AM show on this day, and he was saying all of.
I'm happy about.
So we can play back, and then you.
I'm happy. You know what? During my campaign, I tell the organizers of my campaign that my campaigns should mostly be in church buildings. Okay. Do you know why? Why? Because I can't lie before them and lie before God.
Oh, but our politicians are known to do that. In fact, when they go to religious gatherings, that is where they say things the most that they have not done.
No, Ben, I am not your regular politician. Maybe I'm not a politician at all.
I see.
I have a special heart for people and the cares of people.
But all this rhetoric, the way you are sounding, we've heard it so many times.
Ben, look at my eyes properly. You know that I've not come here to do politics. When I go there, I tell them that, no, I've not come here to do politics with them. Do you know who my mentor is in politics?
Who?
It's Afenyo Makin. When I look
Alexander Afenyo Makin.
Yes. When I look at what this man is passionate about developing his constituency.
Okay.
And these are the footsteps I want to.
Okay. All right.
So I've not come to do politics as usual. Ningo Pram Pram, something good is coming to your doorsteps. Please embrace it. Okay,
so let's get into the papers now. I like how we've started, but let's focus on the main thing, which is getting into the newspapers. So I have the Daily Graphic newspaper and the Business Finder. What papers do you have?
I have the Daily Guide and the Ghanaian Times.
All right. So I'll start with the Daily Graphic, since this is my first time doing this with you. You can see how we do it and then follow suit. Extreme poverty increases. That's according to the World Bank. There's also apathy towards official corruption worrying. That's according to the GBA. And dam spillage. World Bank votes $40 million for farmers. And on the back page of the paper, MOBA 83 donates 1.4 million Ghana cedis towards schools sports complex, and GOIL PLC commissions 5 auto gas stations. Let's start with, it's interesting that finally you hear the GBA speaking on some matters, but let's go to page 13 for starters, and then I'll come to the front page and end from there. And of course, I think I should also take something from page 9, the Gaza hospital blast and everything in between. So the number of Ghanaians living in extreme poverty has increased since last year, with over a quarter of the population presently living on less than $2, that is 24 Ghana cedis, a day. The World Bank country director, Pierre Laporte, has said. Inflation over the past couple of years, he said, had eroded the purchasing power of Ghanaian households as incomes had not kept pace. Quoting him, he says, "It is expected that the current economic woes the country has endured may have pushed many more Ghanaians into poverty and food insecurity worsened by the last quarter of 2022 when inflation was at its peak. He was speaking at a ceremony to mark End Poverty Day at the World Bank office in Accra yesterday. So just imagine that. The number of Ghanaians living in extreme poverty increasing since last year, with over a quarter of the population presently living on less than $2. And if you know anything about salaries in Ghana, there's always this joke, fuel prices. There's this cartoon I saw where you would see fuel prices, food prices, and everything else growing, becoming, adults, and then the salary was down there. Salary was never growing. Then there's also apathy towards official corruption worrying. The Ghana Bar Association has called for the swift passage of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill to ensure the culture of accountability and integrity among public officers. I don't know what we can do or what we will do to change the script, but maybe we need that iron hand and dedication, all of us, because oftentimes we blame the politicians, and true, when it comes to corruption, but the technocrats. Your take on these two stories?
Which one do you want me to do first?
Oh, both of them.
The poverty. Whichever. Let me talk about the poverty issue. Ben, you see, Ghana is an interesting country to live in. Sometimes, I've done research for a very long time, for like 10 years of my life.
Okay.
I've been engaging people and understanding their ways of living. One day we went to a certain company. I'm not mentioning the name because of the things I'm going to say. And it was, we were made to believe that it's a poor community. And so we went to live with them for 3 weeks. Then we realized that the people said they were poor. Majority of them had DSTV connections at home.
The people said they were poor.
They said they were poor.
And they had DSTV connections.
They had air conditions in their rooms. So doing our research, we had indicators. At a point, we were confused because we didn't know whether to classify these people as poor or not, because they portray one thing, and then when you live with them, you realize that it's something completely different. That notwithstanding, Ben, there are people who are really suffering in this country.
No, but what are you insinuating? What I'm
trying to say, sometimes these...
No, let me situate the conversation. If someone has a DSTV connection,
yes,
and uses an air conditioner, that is a sign of wealth. Is that what you're saying?
It's a sign that you are not poor. So, for example, if you pay, let's say, an average of 300 cedis to watch TV,
and those are, you're talking of the high end, because there are those who go for the very basic packages who pay maybe 100 cedis or less.
Let's say 100 cedis.
Okay.
You have that luxury of paying 100 cedis. You have the luxury of buying prepaid credits for your electricity to use an air condition. I'm not saying you can't say you are rich, but you can't also say you are poor. The reason I'm saying this is that...
But again, I want to situate the conversation. If you look at the minimum wage, okay, someone could find a way. And imagine someone who's living in a community which is very hot.
Do you know this?
Especially... No, you've decided not to mention the area and the community. But I'm saying, assume that someone is living in a community and the fan is simply not working, it's not cutting it for you. What would you do? You would do everything possible to get an alternative means, right? I'm just trying to say that we cannot, just look at those aspects and throw a blanket and say these people are not poor.
I agree with you. But I also urge these researchers to go beyond the ticking box type of research. Are you poor? Yes. How many times do you eat in a day? Once you take. No, live with the people. When you stay there for 2 weeks, then you have a better understanding of what poverty really means. Because it could even be a more dire situation that they have described in their paper. But you see, poverty in itself is a mindset. Do you know the average salary of a public servant in Ghana?
Tell me.
Let's say 1,500 Ghana cedis. What it means is that the guy can't spend more than 50 cedis a day. But when you see these public servants, they don't look poor. Ben, you get what I'm saying? Sometimes it's the management of the little resources that you have. One of the people we think are poor in this country are artisans. But Ben, when you call in a carpenter to work for you in a day, or let's say a mason, the least they will take from you is 120 cedis. What it means is that Masons earn more than the average public servants in this country.
That may be true, but how often will they get a job and,
that's
take those 120 CDs that you are talking of? But so they may get that once in a week or once in 2 weeks, and you cannot.
Yes.
That is no benchmark.
Yes. But you see, the point I'm making is that there are people who earn more, but portray themselves as not having anything at all.
I agree.
You get it, and it's a very. I understand how.
And there are also people in Ghana who earn so much, some of them, through illicit means, and act as though they had nothing. But
maybe yours is
who are sitting on massive wealth.
Yours is
the other tale is also true.
Of course, I mean, I know a man who will never buy a new shirt, but when you go to his house, you say this is a very wealthy man. But the point I'm trying to raise is that government policies, I believe, should be channeled towards addressing some of these things. Because sometimes when you travel, even within Accra, even in my constituency, I have a picture I'll show to you later. I went to one of the communities, Minya, just on Monday. And on my way to one of the communities, I just stopped by to just interact with the people. And the lady was telling me how they feed, as a family. And it raised so much emotions in me. And I believe that these things come to raise our awareness as a people, that a deliberate, I don't want this ad hoc poverty relief programs where you give people stipends at the end of the month or at the end of the week to take care of themselves, and then that is all. A sustainable...
You're talking about social welfare, but the developed countries have done it effectively.
They've done it effectively because
food stamps, soup kitchens.
Yes, because they are, but you see, that is not even sustainable. I'm talking about sustainable. Look, for example, in the
it's not sustainable in Ghana or where, because other countries have done it sustainably.
They've not done it.
And
it looks sustainable.
You know what?
Yeah.
If you look at how much we bleed every year, per data from the Auditor General's Department, the Finance Ministry, and all of that, in terms of wastage, in terms of infractions, in terms of corruption, and all of that graft, I think it can be done. It can more than be done.
No, I'm not doubting you at all. What I'm saying is that our culture as a people also doesn't make... when you go for funerals, the lady comes to take one pack of rice, puts it in her bag, and comes back and says, I didn't get some manyabi. So making some of these ad hoc, hand-to-mouth type of,
Okay, so I get
sustainable.
I get the point.
I was raising the point that, for example, in our fishing communities, instead, when you go to, you say that about 14 people sit in one canoe, go, and then they come with a handful of, fish. It doesn't, they will continue to live in poverty until we begin to industrialize some of these, community-based jobs.
Right.
The people cannot live beyond a certain means. So government policy should also be targeted at some of these things.
What do you think, though, about the Conduct of Public Officers Bill? The GBA is saying it will ensure the accountability and integrity among public officials. What's interesting, the 1992 Constitution, it has some of these tenets in there. Under Rawlings, we're all talking about probity, accountability, transparency. 30 years down the road, probity, accountability, transparency, we've probably flushed it down, where.
Have we? I think there are, recently when... the unfortunate incidents of the Twisian who was jailed.
Yeah.
Then I heard some people ranting why they jailed that guy. But I said, but you guys are the same people who call for accountability and jailing corrupt people in the country and all of that. So I believe that it all comes from our cultural, instincts as a people. When somebody does wrong, and so let's come back to the room and talk about it. Let's not wash our dirty linen outside. So prosecuting corrupt officials in this country, Ben, it's not like catching...
Would you accept that it has become very political, and it depending on which party is in power, some people will be prosecuted and others will be left off the hook?
Political party manifestos, it's very prominent that when they come to arrest corrupt officials...
No, but I'm saying that if corruption knows no tincture, it knows no color, it knows no...
Yeah, so...
From all sides, we have seen and know people that are corrupt. Exactly. You were talking about some people who live in certain ways. Look, if our tax people were really to look at the lifestyles of some of you politicians as well, and the cars you drive and the things you own. People own media entities. People, before they came into politics, had never done any work. On both sides, NDC and NPP. I could mention names, I just wouldn't do it. And we knew them. All of a sudden, they went into politics, and now the cars they ride, the houses they own, the things they do, what they are even able to pay to certain... If I mention certain things, you know where it is clear. We don't have the will. We've never had the will.
I think having the will itself is a daunting task, if you ask me. Okay, so Ben, I've built a relationship with you over the years. You are caught in a corruption. I have the power to prosecute you. You think it's that easy?
It is not. But I have said that since I am someone in the legal sphere, for example, if ever I became a judge, and let's say my brother, my only living brother, committed an offense, and it came to my court, and I knew that it's either I go the full mile with it, like I would treat anybody else, or I'll recuse myself so that someone else will step in and do it. There's no coloration. It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Ben, you know where all this...
It doesn't matter.
It's about having a proper overhaul of our 1992 Constitution. I think our 1992 Constitution has...
outlived its relevance?
Outlived its relevance completely.
All of it or some portion?
Majority of it.
Wow.
I mean, the power, if the power given to the president still remains as it is, fighting corruption will be very difficult in this country.
If the power is given the president?
President, yes.
But the president already has wide powers. He's even created an office of the special prosecutor that is hemorrhaging in terms of logistics. And it's hobbled and it's still trying to. I think it's because Kizia Jabing is trying within his means to do what he can.
It's not trying.
I doff my hat to him on that.
No, the will for President Akufo-Addo to set up that office, and even the person he appointed first, should tell you that not all politics...
Was it not all politics?
That Martin Hamidou was appointed special prosecutor.
There are some who would say that it was merely because he had bad blood with his own party and he was expected to go after members of his own party. I mean, you know the rhetoric. Let's not pretend.
No, but when you know the history of Martin Hamidou,
right,
and even how he got appointed,
right,
where people were trying to lobby and said, no, the president had a personal conversation with him. Said, look, I am appointing.
I agree. Let's say I agree with you on everything you're saying.
Yeah.
In the end, we don't look at what has been done.
Yes.
We look at the results.
Yes.
What are the results?
The results may not be what we all hoped for, okay? But the fact that for the first time in our history, Ben, a special prosecutor's office has been created. And a person like Martin Hamidou and Kizia Jabing have been...
But you've heard their complaints, right?
About...
You can set up something and still starve it of oxygen and ensure that it doesn't... cosmetic.
The special prosecutor's office, I know, is not starved of oxygen.
Okay, let's get past that. We don't have too much time.
Yes.
Let me just do this on the international front, and then you'll do your two stories.
Yes.
Your two newspapers.
Yes.
Gaza hospital blast caused by foes. That's according to Biden. U.S. President Joe Biden arrived in Israel yesterday, pledging solidarity in its war against Hamas and saying that a blast that killed huge numbers of Palestinians at a Gaza hospital appeared to have been caused not by Israel, but by its foes. The fireball that engulfed the Al-Ahli Al-Arabi hospital on Tuesday evening wrecked White House plans for Biden's emergency diplomatic mission to the Middle East. I've been reading reports from ballistic experts and human rights organizations. Yeah. It's still in there. Some would say that on the back of what they've seen, it doesn't look like the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. Yes. It could be anything, though, until we get a concrete report on this. But whichever group did this, it's created a humanitarian crisis with hundreds of people dying, according to Hamas, and that's not the best. And then, interestingly, Berlin synagogue targeted as a tax rise. Berlin's Jewish community has been shaken by 2 petrol bombs thrown at a synagogue amid a spike in anti-Semitic incidents in some European countries. Of course, Germany, with its own history of, you remember, what did they even call it? The final solution.
Yeah.
When the Führer, Hitler, if you weren't blue-eyed and all of that and you were a Jew, that was... Anyway, quick thoughts on that, and then you come in with your papers.
So, Ben, you see, this Israel-Palestine issue will never end.
Oh, wait. No. It will never end? It's intractable, but to say it will never end...
When will it end? It's even in the Bible that these things will continue.
You draw biblical allusions to it.
Of course. I believe so much in the Bible. And when you read the history behind all of this and you check what the Bible says about these two countries, you know that Bible is just play. And I find it difficult when people think they can find solutions to some of these things. There's no solution. And I mean, in this day and age, if two countries cannot sit down and agree on a very simple matter and decide to throw bombs at each other. Yesterday, I was watching CNN and I saw the ballistic experts' explanation, and it was a mistake and it wasn't targeted. They didn't really mean to bomb the hospital. On CNN, I was like, but what's all this?
Yeah.
Why tell you? I mean, nobody's a kid in this country, And when you enter into some of these discussions, you'll be seen as being biased towards. So, for example, Biden flies from America to come and announce that Israel, you didn't cause the problem.
Which categorically couldn't be.
And when there's an investigation, why won't you just wait for? I mean, I don't have a problem, but to bomb a hospital, but do you know what has been happening in the hospital? It became like It
was a haven for people people go to these hospitals because they know that those places will not be shelled.
Yes.
They'll be avoided. Like we've seen in Ukraine
and
So
when
Russia.
People run from where the bombs are and come and look for a safe haven rather, how is it that the only mistake that happened was at that particular facility? You get what I'm saying? So maybe the world leaders should just rise up. But I honestly, Ben, I don't see an end to this.
You don't?
I don't see an end. Sometimes when I see our local media carrying this into me, I say, Charlie, guys, we have a lot of roads to fix. So we have a lot of Galamsey issues.
But you know that if you look at the Israeli-Arab war, I believe in 1943, and the other one in 1973, the Yom Kippur War, you would realize that these things have the tendency, if not dealt with, because Israel has its allies, the US and Western countries.
Yes.
But Palestine has its allies. Even in that sub-region, Israel has Egypt, which it is very friendly. The Arab countries are in there. If we play the ostrich, someday it could come to haunt us.
In the next 1 month, we'll stop discussing this. This will wash away until it resurfaces again. That's what I'm saying. This will.
But it doesn't wash away the effects of what has happened.
The effects will always be there. Ben, you and I, how do we stop this? Should we go and bring our guys from Burma come to?
There was a UN Security Council vote, though, and Ghana voted in a certain direction for humanitarian aid and windows to be opened. Unfortunately, there were those who also said that no, and those who abstained.
Yes,
so,
I think we should. Some of these things where we are, look, countries are becoming more nationalistic. I mean, these days, let's concentrate on our problems and fix it.
Let's do the headlines from the Daily Guide and the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
All right, I have in front of me President telling us young people to go into farming. So go into farming. Nana urges youth. 31 ECOWAS prostitutes arrested in Zima. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, we did that story yesterday, actually.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. Then damage slums NDC lies on Galamsey. 1 dead, 3,300 displaced in Makango floods. And I'm saddened by your pains, Baumia, to flood victims. Back page. But should I do the back page too?
Yes, please.
Jordan blames US mulling on inexperience. One-man supporter refused misconduct allegations. Jude Bellingham commits future to Real Madrid. Maguire blasts England fans.
As for Harry Maguire, I'm a Man U fan, so the heartache he's given me, I don't even want to start talking.
Maguire. So Ben, where should we start from? I think
we have very limited time. Actually,
I think the president's call for young people to enter into agric. I think John Dumelo is a very good example.
True.
Yes, if we industrialize agric, I mean, most of us, Kennedy Japan has been preaching this, and people seem to be brushing it off. But I believe strongly that farming is one of the panaceas to our economic woes.
Since you mentioned Kennedy Japan, are you supporting him as your party goes?
I'm supporting the New Patriotic Party.
You're supporting the New Patriotic Party. But you believe in Kennedy Japan?
I like him.
You like him?
Yeah, I like Kennedy Japan.
Let's look at the Ghanaian Times and then.
I like Dr. Baumia too.
Oh, okay.
And I like Akoto, the agric minister.
You like all of them?
They're all my friends. Ghanaian Times. Okay, so arrest prosecutes powers behind Galamsey. GB appeals to government.
Okay.
And President launches youth in agric for sustainable employment project. government to sanction business over violation of human rights. That's according to Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Bawumia. Back page, I have everywhere underscores need to transform global agri-food system, and Japan grants $289,000 to 4 entities to undertake projects.
Okay. All right, so that's how we're going to cap it off. Any final words before we go? The same similar stories here in the Business Finder. Agric to absorb 200,000 youth for lifetime.
But Ben, what are your impressions about the government's inroads in agric in the country?
I've seen a lot being spoken of. I've seen a lot being put out, like 1D, 1F, planting for food and jobs and all of that. The results, though, especially in this inflation hit economy, the cost of food and everything, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because you remember when Dr. Akoto was still minister and was talking about a bunch of plantain being this and that. Even in the rural areas, it wasn't going for that. And we went to the markets and all of that. So I don't know. Food sufficiency is everybody's issue because it is a national security matter.
That's true.
So I don't know. That's what I'll say on this. But Manje, we're grateful that you joined us.
I have to say a few words to my constituents.
30 seconds, let's go.
So a special one to Joanne of Lalwepu electoral area. Yesterday was her birthday. Auntie Joanne, thank you for your support. And to all my constituents, I believe that together we can fight a very good fight and win the constituency for the New Patriotic Party for the first time. And good morning to my mother. She's doing the watching this morning.
Oh, mommy. Good morning. Good morning. And let me just seize this opportunity to wish a very happy birthday to my own niece, Mary Antoinette the youngster. Oh, you're my favorite. I know Papa is not going to like this, but I love you guys. Happy 16th birthday to you. God richly bless and keep you. And may He let you fulfill your purpose in life. We were joined for this discussion by aspiring parliamentary candidate for Ningo Prampram on the ticket of the governing New Patriotic Party, John Manche Akwete. Now, before we get into sports, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening if you're a man, free female fertility screening as well. Locate them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. There's Kumasi, Kronomwabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Esiaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the end of the news review and the start of sports. But put it there, Senior. Thank you so much for joining this morning and have a great day. Sports is up next with Mubarak Haruna. Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. We start with our very first conversation, and we're going to be talking about HIV in Ghana. Per the current release from the Ghana AIDS Commission, there are a number of issues that have cropped up. We'd also be focusing on antiretroviral medication supply to those infected. We'll talk about general care as far as those living with HIV and the need for donations from corporate entities and individuals to support the Commission in its quest to achieve its objectives. We'll be looking at all of that this morning. And let me get to our guest joining the conversation in the studio with us this morning. We have Dr. Treme Echiahene, Director General, Ghana AIDS Commission. He joins us for this conversation. Doc, a very good morning to you.
Thank you, and good morning to you as well.
Now, the last time you came through, we had quite a conversation about where we stand as a country when it comes to HIV. I would like you to go back to reminding us of how far we've come, yes, but how much more we have to do, and that uptick in infections, especially concerning those who don't even know they have been infected. What does the picture look like?
Well, thank you once again. The total number of people estimated to have HIV in Ghana is about 355,000. And of this number, we have young people, in fact, from age 0 to whatever, age you may imagine. And so these people are the people we all see in this country. If you talk about every profession or social organization, every community, every region, every district, we have people living with HIV in all those places.
So it is basically widespread across the length and breadth of the country.
Yes. The data is quite clear. There is no single community in this country that doesn't have HIV. There is no social group in this country that doesn't have HIV. So if you talk about religion, yes, we have a number of people in the churches. In fact, more than 80% of people who live with HIV are churchgoers. And so there are, among the Muslims, if you talk about work, every workplace, every organization, you may find HIV person there. And so it's widespread. And why it is so is the fact that, let me first talk about the fact that we have high numbers of new infections. In 2022, we had almost 16,600 people who got infected in 2022. That is concerning because that number is too high for the country. And it is so because we have a number of factors working against us. Although the efforts we have made, the investment we have made, brought about declining trends in the new infections. However, the level of decline is not significant enough to, get us to the targets that we've set for ourselves for 2025. And it is so because young people have been, and I believe the social media has contributed to this, which in my view, the social media has, if there is any word like misempowered young people, to the extent that many of them have become, quite liberated when it comes to sex. You can, there is a particular video where a young lady was asked that, ladies believe that some guys are stingy. And the lady said, oh, no guy is stingy. He said, why? He said, well, if you open your ties, he will open his wallet. And she went ahead to say that if you don't invest in a closed bank, you invest in an open bank. So a guy will open his wallet when you open your ties. And if this is the mindset...
How old will be this? Will this person be?
19, 20, maximum 21. So I asked myself, if this is the mindset of young people, I can't use a case to generalize, but the evidence is quite clear that we have seen more and more young people going into prostitution. Prostitution has become so common in our country. You have young people at the age of, let's say, 10 in prostitution. Now people see their bodies as a source of income, that they can use their bodies, to raise income. Some have, desperate situations, so maybe it's for livelihood. But for most of them, is for luxury. And that is very concerning.
I mean, we hear of young ladies who are doing all kinds of things for something as mundane as an iPhone or phones, gadgets, because it's a status symbol.
Even Indomie, even having a free ride on Pragya. No, media, they are going to highlight these things that I'm mentioning, but honestly, that shouldn't be the focus. It's happening everywhere in this country. And unfortunately for us, the sub-region, many people in the sub-region think that Ghana is more prosperous, it's a safe haven for them. So they move here. And some of them cannot find the jobs they anticipated to have. They go into prostitution. So you have so many people who are being trafficked into Ghana just for prostitution. Our students, both males and females, are involved in prostitution. And besides that, the mining activities in the country also contributing to the increasing numbers of new infections in the country. Besides that, we have a number of businesses that, use sex to sell their products. And all these are contributing in sustaining high numbers of new infections in the country. And we as a people have to decide whether we want to eliminate HIV or we want it to grow exponentially in the country. Why? Because we have all the tools and we are doing everything that gives us the opportunity to end AIDS and eliminate and achieve epidemic control of HIV in this country. But
why are we not getting there?
Because these behaviors among the population is one of it. And of course, we also have financial challenge. As I have always said, we only have a third of the money we need for the AIDS response. And that third is coming from our donors. And our donors determine what the money should be used for. So about 64% of that money is going into procurement of HIV commodities like antiretroviral medicines, mainly antiretroviral medicines. Government is supposed to buy the test kits, the reagents, the condoms, and the others. In addition to complementing the contribution of donors in procuring antiretroviral medicines. And the rest of the donor money, the chunk of it is going into key population programs. And so there is very little to do prevention because if we can reduce new infections, then we should be able to reduce, scale up prevention activities.
Doc, that brings me to this. I mean, I remember way back when you had the ABCs and abstinence, being faithful, condom use. You remember the campaigns on TV and all of that, because that was what we had access to then. Mm-hmm. Now we have social media. Of course, there's the negative use of social media. Yeah. We've seen the twerking videos and young people doing all kinds of things, which allude to what you said, the negative side of social media. But can't we also capitalize on the positives of it to sell the message of the dangers inherent in those lifestyles? And because back then, people were much more cautious, especially in the 90s, 80s and 90s. The stigma was there when you had these. People had so many misconceptions. Those ads and things helped disabuse the minds of people. Are we tapping into those as well as the AIDS Commission?
Yes, we are. We have all the social media handles. Mm. The problem is the following. Yes, we do not have, my team I don't have, team with the skill to really boost the following of the commission on the.
Are you logistically constrained in that regard?
Severely challenged, and so we are hoping that we'll be able to bring on board somebody with the needed skills to really help us expand our reach on the social media. But of course, anyone who feels, that they can help us in this area will be very happy to.
I just went on Instagram. I see Ghana AIDS Commission and then I see Ghana AIDS. Which one is you? I'm following you now.
Ghana AIDS Commission.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I guess if all of us were to do that and spread the word, I'm sure it would help, matters. So I just followed the Ghana AIDS Commission. And when I see your posts, I will share them as well.
Thank you.
So moving from there, right before I get into the antiretroviral treatments, the ARTs and everything that is happening, what is the status? I've always been curious. What is the status of mother-to-child transmission as of now? Because these are supposed to prevent that, right? But I've also heard instances where the transmissions actually do occur. What's the status of that?
Mother-to-child transmission is an important component of the prevention program we have in the country. And every mother or pregnant woman is tested for HIV, syphilis, and hepatitis, of course, along with other diseases when they visit the ANC for the first time during their pregnancy term. And so we have about 87% of mothers living with HIV receiving antiretroviral treatment.
87%.
Yes.
Right.
Receiving antiretroviral medicines to prevent the mother-to-child transmission.
Okay. What happens with the remaining 13%?
Yes. So some of them do not. We are not able to cover them. Either they are unreachable or they are not willing.
They're not willing to take the ARTs.
Take the medicines. Of course, there are some challenges in that area as well. But with respect to the babies, we expect that mother-baby pair should be on treatment, and so that the baby, if it has HIV, can also, grow and mature and live normal life like everyone else. With the help of antiretroviral medicines. Right. But we need to confirm the HIV status of that baby. We do antibody tests, but we have to also have the PCR test to actually determine whether the antibodies are not from the mother. Okay. Or due to his own immune, mechanisms. And so we need to know for a fact that the baby has HIV before is given antiretroviral medicine. But they are often given prophylaxis until PCR test results have been released. But the challenge there is that the coverage is very low. The coverage is very low. It's about 40%. And so majority of the children don't get the benefit of knowing their HIV status as early as possible, and if they are positive, being put on treatment. But that problem is being currently resolved. But it has to be as rapid as possible, because Ghana in 2012 was seen in the whole world to be the first African country to eliminate mother-to-child.
We were right on that path.
We were right, and we still are right, because you have more than 95%, between 95 and 98% of pregnant women visiting ANC. So with that high, almost universal, coverage of ANC, we should be able to
eradicate
mother-to-child transmission. But unfortunately, the problem of equipment is the main reason. There is a stopgap measure where the samples are taken and to places where we have facilities where we have the tests machines, the PCR machines, to test and get the results back to the mothers. But there are here too a few challenges, but hopefully by next year we're going to get more point of care machines that will enable more and more babies to be tested, in health facilities near them.
Let me just, and we're hoping as we do this, we're hoping that those multinational corporations, those big corp entities will also, come to the aid of the Ghana AIDS Commission. The Ghana AIDS Commission needs aid, logistically, funding-wise, in many ways, and that is how we can also help. Let's not always make it that big corp is going in a certain direction. How about channeling some of your resources in there for them, for the health of the nation? A healthy population, obviously, will be able to work and give you the money that you, big corp, you need. Daniel in Sefo says, may you get the needed funds for the good work you are doing. People appreciating your work, Doc. But this one, Garago Franklin Rex says, the major problem of the testing regime is the health providers. In the current dispensation, before you get home after testing, your result is waiting for you at home and in your community. People, in fear of the stigma, decide not to test. Is this a real problem? Is this real?
I don't understand what he means by your results is waiting for you.
So you've gone for the test, which is supposed to be private.
Yes.
Before you get home, before you get to your community,
somebody,
they say.
That's,
stigma.
That's very unfortunate if that is true. We know of, a few incidents of this nature, but my advice to our healthcare professionals is that it's against the law to disclose somebody's HIV status to a third party without his or her consent.
I mean, anything medical, even
yes.
medical, anything medical, even staying away from the seriousness of HIV, anything medical. You have no right to share that information.
I'm happy you are mentioning this because it's an ethical issue. And as a practitioner, as a healthcare practitioner, your reputation goes with everything you do. And so if you unethically handle situations of this nature, then it is not good. And the Ghana Health Service has a patient charter. And in the patient charter, we've ensured that these matters are fully addressed. And so if they go against these rules, then we expect the Ghana Health Service to, take the necessary action and ensure that such people are sanctioned. But I just want to assure Ghanaians that the Ghana AIDS Commissions Act 2016, that is Act 938, clearly states that nobody should disclose your HIV status to a third party without your consent. And if that happens to you, you reserve the right to to have redress. And you can do so legally. And the commission will stand with you and work with you all through the process, all through the legal process.
Let's talk about, we've spoken about some of the specific matters, but in terms of general care of those living with HIV in Ghana, assume someone learns today that he or she has been infected. What happens from there as far as the Ghana Health Service, the Ghana AIDS Commission is concerned? What happens from there?
So the policy we operate now since 2016 is test and treat. Now HIV is handled like we do for malaria. When you have the malaria parasite in your blood, then you must be given anti-malaria drugs right away. It's the same way that HIV is being handled. So you test, once the test results is confirmed that indeed you are HIV positive, they will offer you the antiretroviral treatment right away. and within, even if it must delay, it mustn't go beyond 1 week.
Wow.
Yes, it mustn't go beyond 1 week, so that the person, because the drug is the only medicine that can keep, suppress the virus first, keep the person alive and productive. And so we leave no chance.
Speaking of which, you remind me of Magic Johnson.
Yes.
I always look at him and I'm like, wow. You know, some people feel getting HIV is a death sentence. Actually, if you take proper care of yourself, this gentleman, since was it the 80s? And
yes.
he continued with his career up to a point.
Yes.
And you see him today, and if no one told you he had it, he
yes.
wouldn't.
Yes.
He wouldn't know.
And yes, that's right. And we have so many people in Ghana who has been on treatment for 20 years, 21 years. And they are alive, they are strong, they are working, they are living normal lives. If you don't know they have HIV, I mean, nothing show. I mean, you would think that they are one of the healthiest people in the community.
Which is why stigmatizing them is so wrong.
Yes, it's so wrong. And so antiretroviral medicine is the only way you can keep yourself alive, healthy, productive, and even reproductive, where your baby too will not have HIV, will be HIV negative. And so we encourage everyone who is on antiretroviral treatment to adhere to treatment, and if they are virally suppressed, maintain their viral suppressed status by adhering to treatment. That is the only way that if you are a woman and you want to have HIV-free baby, you can have it. Because when you are virally suppressed, the possibility of passing the virus to your unborn baby or during delivery or breastfeeding will be quite negligible. And so you need to remain on treatment.
Let's look at these little bits, not little so to speak, but final bits to conclude the conversation. The ARTs are free.
Yes. Everything about HIV's services are free. All HIV services are free.
And I intentionally bring that up because some people may also think, oh, and I'm now going to, the ARTs are free. I think it's same with, is it tuberculosis or something of the sort?
Yeah,
it may
tuberculosis are also free. I mean, services for tuberculosis patients are free, yes.
Right, so let's create that awareness. It is free. If you find that you are infected, the state is willing to, and that's why so much in terms of funds.
It's free, but let me
pumped into this. But there are other aspects that you have to look at.
Let me throw in this. It is free, but how they get to the facility to collect the medicine?
Oh yes,
cost them in terms of transportation, and unfortunately, because of stigma, many people travel, for far distances to collect their medicines. When we have more than almost 600 health facilities across the country where people can receive, it's nearby, it's quite close to them. Every district hospital, we have some polyclinics, we have health centers. Even now, the arrangement is being made for them to receive it at the CHIP compound. And so why would you travel and incur cost? But I need to indicate that because of delays in reimbursing service providers by the National Health Insurance Authority, some facilities have decided to charge people living with HIV for some of the services.
Wow.
For example,
that is happening?
Yes. For example, lab services, laboratory services. And that is costing them a lot. Out-of-pocket payment relating to HIV treatment by persons living with HIV in Ghana cost them out-of-pocket payment was in 2019 was almost 22 million.
2,200 Ghana cedis.
No, $22 million.
Oh, wow.
Yes. In 2020, it increased to $28 million. In 2021, it went up to $32 million. Now, this is very worrying because it's supposed to be free, but because we do not have the money, we have huge funding gap of about $89 million a year. These people are being made to pay for the services that they are supposed to receive for free. And so that is the more reason why we need to bridge the funding gap. Why? Somebody will say that, but why? We all go to hospital and we pay. Right. So why should persons living with HIV be treated differently? Yes, they have to be treated differently because HIV is not exactly like every other disease.
Right.
If they
we're all at risk.
Yes.
Once they are at risk, we are at risk.
We are at risk. If they do not have the medicines, it means the viral load is going to increase and they will become more infectious. New infections will therefore increase. They will become sick, develop AIDS, and die. And
to talk of the burden on our hospital facilities.
Exactly. At some point, more than 40% of hospital beds were occupied by HIV patients. We don't want to get there. Now, the other reason is that when they do not have the money to pay or go and take their medicines, what happens is that some of them discontinue treatment. They discontinue. So we have high number of what we call loss to follow-up. People were on treatment but can no longer be traced within 3 months or more. And that number is more than 30% of the people who are on treatment.
Currently?
Yes.
More than 30%?
Yes. And so that is very worrying because if they are not adhering to treatment, what will happen is that it's not only the viral load that is going to increase or having disease progression, it is also possible they will develop resistance to the drugs that we have. And so if they are on first-line drugs and they develop resistance for first-line drugs, we will need to move them to second line, which is more costly, which is more expensive than the first-line drugs. And as a country, we know the fiscal challenges we are having now, and we have to be efficient in managing the response. And therefore, we need to cut out these issues to ensure that people living with HIV can continuously receive their medicines and adhere to treatment so that they remain virally suppressed and prevent disease progression and escalation in new infections.
Okay, let me just bring in these bits to wrap the conversation. But before I get to the final bits, I just want you to tell us about how to assist those we know in our communities that have HIV or AIDS. And I pose this question because of, one, the stigma, and sometimes help people could give that they don't, because there are some misconceptions about our brothers and sisters living with AIDS. How more can we assist them so that they attain their full potential even with this situation?
Yes. HIV, people living with HIV can live normal lives like everyone else if they are on treatment. But sometimes some of them wait for too long doing, healing shopping. They often will go to herbalists and spiritualists, and by the time they get to know their status, it's too late. And sometimes too, the policy is that every person walking into any health facility must be offered testing, HIV testing. But this is not done. And even during the consultation, some of the doctors do not even consider HIV. And so by the time some of them get to know their HIV status, it's too late for them. But of course, if they are put on treatment immediately, they recover and live normal lives. And so what we are saying is that they need help. Some of them, especially the children who have been orphaned by AIDS, some of them don't have carers or somebody looking after them. Such people need help. And as I was saying, some of them travel far to receive their antiretroviral medicines. And sometimes they don't even have the money to go because they may have spent their life saving on, battling the disease before they get to know. So they are often poor and they need help. And one thing that they need most is food. Okay. Because good nutrition is very important for the management of HIV-related diseases. And so nutrition is a number one priority that I would want all Ghanaians to consider for people living with HIV. And some do not have, livelihood. They don't have any jobs. And so we have to help them stand or live to be financially independent by helping them engage in some economic activities. But these are some of the things the Commission does for them when we have funding. Because now you have a number of young people who live with HIV. Some are out of school and they have no jobs. And so if they are supported in any income generation or learn trade, it will at least give them a better future.
So we can all find ways and means of lending a helping hand.
Exactly.
And in a way, lending a helping hand to ourselves.
Yes.
Because as we help them, we help ourselves.
But the interesting thing is that people always stigmatize those they know live with HIV. But there may be some people who are so close to us that we love so much and we don't know. Because the people who live with HIV are just like any one of us.
Just like the rest of us.
Yes. So some are well-to-do, some are poor, some are in, high positions. But the point is, you don't need to know. He's a human being. Exactly. He's a friend, he's a brother, he's an uncle, he's a father, he's a mother. That is what is most important.
It reminds me of an image I saw once where, in a war-torn community, they were asking a child, are you Christian, Muslim, Jew? And the child said, I am hungry. That was the...
Yes.
It's not my religion.
Yes.
The child was being, I don't understand. I'm hungry. That's the language I understand. To cap off the conversation, though, I have reached out, but I want you to reach out to those entities, big corp, small corp, that can assist you. I mean, if all of us do our ntobwa and we help the cause, things will get better logistically. What do you think, though, about the COVID-19 kitty? Because some have said that, look, we're still paying the COVID-19 levy. Yesterday I went somewhere, COVID-19, we're paying, but the pandemic has passed. Are you looking forward to seeing some of that channeled to you? Is that one of the practical means of getting support to you?
Yes, there is an advocacy to repurpose the COVID-19 recovery levy. And the governing board of the commission met just last week and came up with a resolution. And one of the points in that resolution is that COVID-19 recovery levy should be repurposed for HIV. Okay. And so it is something that we need the voices of well-meaning Ghanaians.
You support it?
To support it.
Do you support it?
Yes, 100%, because we have National HIV and AIDS Fund set up by law in 2016, and the fund has not been resourced. And looking at the huge funding gap of 67%, what else can we ask for? We need government to come up with, source of funding, which is dedicated, because the fund, according to the law, has no dedicated source. It only has to rely on budgetary allocations every year by Minister for Finance. But so far, that has not been done. And so we need dedicated source. And when we're talking about HIV, it's an incurable infectious disease. So it's going to be with us for a very long time, because antiretroviral medicines making people live normal lives and have, their normal life expectancy. So now we are talking about aging with HIV. And aging with HIV means it's not HIV related conditions that kill those who are aging. It is rather non-communicable diseases. So there are a whole lot of issues about HIV, and we should never forget that HIV is disproportionately affecting the most economically active population in this country. So if we ignore HIV by way of denying it the needed funds, we are actually putting our economy and our national development as a whole at a very serious risk. And so it is important that corporate Ghana and individual support. And we are making arrangement before next month is going to be World AIDS Day month, awareness month. Now this month is for cancer. Next month, November, is for HIV. And so we are going to have series of activities within November. And during that time, we will want to have the National HIV and AIDS Fund launched. And that is the time that we will want the president to receive donations from corporate bodies and individuals who want to present their checks to the president as their contribution to the AIDS Fund. For the individuals, it's easier to do it, by the USSD code. You just dial star 9898 hash and follow the prompt. Can you slow
down on that?
Yes.
So
star 9898 hash. Follow the prompts, and you can do it on MTN and Vodafone. We are working to bring on board Tigo as well, Airtel Tigo as well. And so dial star 9898 hash, follow the prompts on MTN and Vodafone, and do your donation. So far, a number of people have attempted to do that. We don't know why they don't end up, majority of them did not end up donating. But the few who did, and we have just about 100 people or more, donating an average of 20 Ghana cedis. We are very grateful to those people. We thank you very much for your donation. We say no amount is too small. If we have 3 million people donating 20 cedis, every month, that is going to help a lot. And so we encourage everybody to donate. My staff came up with they said charity begins at home. And so if we are asking the public to donate to the AIDS Fund, then we must start it. So they said that junior staff should pay 20 cedis a month. Managers should pay 50 cedis a month. Directors 100 cedis, and Director General 150 Ghana cedis a month. I didn't participate in that conversation because, so when I was told, I was really impressed. And this is an idea that came from NPA. They said, okay, National Petroleum Authority. Right. I'm happy to mention their name. They said, well, we will get our staff to, contribute monthly, and the company will also match up what the staff contribute. And so let's all see HIV as a workplace issue, as an industrial issue, as a commercial issue, because the people who work in these places are the most economically active population who are disproportionately affected by HIV. And so if you want to reduce, absenteeism resulting from illnesses associated with HIV or any other infectious disease, you have to join hands with the Ghana AIDS Commission to prevent this. Fortunately, the services, all HIV services are for free. So we are treating your employees for free so that they can continue to serve you, they can continue to work for you, produce for you, to make profit. So it's important you also contribute to the AIDS Fund.
Thank you so much, Doc. So on social media, Ghana AIDS Commission, is it across the board? Ghana AIDS Commission.
Yes.
Instagram, I followed you. Where else? Are you on Facebook?
Facebook, YouTube, and I think Twitter.
X, okay. Yeah. Now X.
Okay.
And Instagram, because I saw you.
Yes, and Instagram as well.
So all across social media, you can find the Ghana AIDS Commission. Let us, a little, like he said, if even all of us were donating 20 cedis, it may not be 20 cedis you can donate, but if even 3 million people were donating that, that's just about what, 60 million?
I think
3 million people by, or is it 6 million?
I think so.
Whichever the case may be, that would be a lot of money that would be able to, assist the Ghana AIDS Commission in its work. And together, we can all do it. Thank you so much, Dr. Treme Etiahene. He is Director General, Ghana AIDS Commission, and he joined us in the studio on this all-important conversation. Stay with us on the AM show. There's a lot more that we'll be bringing your way shortly. There's still that conversation going on when it comes to the Akosombo Dam. We'll just take a sneak peek at that as the Vice President also gets there, among other things, other discussions we'll have this morning. Of course, National Science and Math quiz also in the offing. So stay, we'll be right back.
Peja, a literary festival in Accra, brings together authors, poets, various performers, and many other literary stalwarts from Ghana, Africa, and across the globe for a colorful celebration of literature and art. This 3-day festival features a wide variety of events such as readings, expert-led workshops, performances, book releases, and even literary prize presentations. Director of the Writers Project of Ghana and director of the Peja Literary Festival, Dr. Martin Egbla-Wogba, stated that they were privileged to have many people from manifold countries and continents participating in this year's festival.
For this year, we are fortunate to have nationalities from practically every continent. We have from Singapore, someone who used to be a director of the biggest literary festival in Singapore. Wow. Yes, Yao Kai Chai, he's joining us. We have someone from Iceland, and then of course the Netherlands. We have people from the United States, and there's something very interesting this year too. We have connected strongly with the Caribbean, and so we have a delegation from Curaçao, which is a Caribbean island, joining us.
Diana Ferris, a South African poet and author, shared the experience of how she came to write the poem I Have Come to Take You Home, as well as some of her other works.
It was at the time of scientific racism. George Cuvier, the big scientist from France, then made a plaster cast of her body. And then he went to write books and seminars on how all this showed that the size of a brain, the size of a genitalia. I heard a voice calling out, I want to go home, I want to go home. And it's just there with tears running down my cheek that I turned to my desk and I wrote the first line of a poem. I've come to take you home.
Farai Mudzingwa, a Zimbabwean novelist, also explained the distinct shifts in the Zimbabwean writing style and shared his thoughts on the contemporary literary landscape in Africa.
Zimbabwean writing has, from the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, had to do with the war. Having come out of the war, integrating into a new society after the war. We rode that phase for a bit, and then there was the phase, I would say, from about 20 years ago, where the country was going through the political turmoil, the land invasions, the economy tanking. So there was literature writing that, writing the strife, the hardship, writing the immigration.
Interacting with some volunteering organizers and book lovers at the British Council of Ghana, they shared their infectious enthusiasm for literature and the arts, coupled with their sheer excitement about the fair.
I love literature so much, and everywhere there's books, writers, poets, everything, just counts me in.
What I love about Peja Festival is that it brings together a lot of different writers from across Africa, and I want to experience that variety of literature in Africa.
Just to see the amount of resources, the archive, the rich history, it's really been sensational.
At the W.E.B. Du Bois Memorial Center in the Cantonment's Enclave, some participants shared what their expectations were of the 2023 Peja Festival.
The program of the Peja Festival is really very, very interesting. It's very broad, so I'm sure that I will be able to learn a lot, to give also a lot, because we will be presenting also, we will be performing, and to take back home as much as possible.
It is impacting, and I think it's going to continue to do that. For me, Peja is an opportunity to discover and also meet up with peers.
I'm expecting to just be exposed to new ways of thinking, I think is what I'm most excited about.
This is how the vice president touched down in the South-Tongue district capital, Sogakofe. His first point of call was New Bakpa, thence to Komboni and Sokwe, where he interacted with chiefs and expressed his sympathy to flood victims. Dr. Bawumia described the devastation of property as major disaster and challenged officials of the Volta River Authority to find a more sustainable way of dealing with the spillage of the Akosombo Dam, considering the rising concerns of climate change.
This, I am told, is the biggest flooding disaster we have seen since 1963. So it's been 60 years since the last such disaster took place. And it has affected so many livelihoods, so many people, so much property, so many farms, so many fishing implements and so on. So it has devastated our livelihoods around this area. And when I look at the community in Sokoi, when I was coming in, so many places are flooded, so many houses. And it is a very sad event. And as I am here with you, let me really express my sympathies. Babanami, we will take into account all the needs that have been expressed. To be expressed a lot of needs for the community, and we will take all of that into account as the community, as the government prepares the support package to the communities. It's very important that we look, as I have mentioned it already to VRA, that we need to look for long-term solutions to this flooding, because it will happen this year. We can deal with it now. What about next year? Because climate change appears to be taking hold. A few years ago, we were all worried about the water levels of the Volta Dam, that it was too low. Now we are worried that it is too high. And so we need to look for engineering solutions to the spillage of the water out of the Volta Dam, so that it doesn't affect the communities. Because if we don't look for long-term solutions, we'll have to be dealing with these disasters on a regular basis with climate change. So I've challenged VRA and NADMO to really put their heads together and get the engineers to work and look at how we can build a very efficient way of spilling the water over time.
Meanwhile, to add to government efforts, the Vice President personally donated a sum of 160,000 Ghana cedis to the 8 affected districts to support relief efforts. Here is the Minister of Information, Kojopo Nkrumah, presenting the cash donation to the chiefs and people of Sokpe.
He's been traveling across some of the towns to see for himself the impact of the relief efforts that we are putting in place. As he mentioned, the government support is in various stages. First is the temporary support for our brothers and sisters who have been displaced. And as he mentioned, there are 20 locations where the support is going. And so even this morning, I do understand that part of our relief efforts that were supposed to come here, came here this morning, as they are going to various other locations, and it will be done intermittently as the numbers are monitored, as the days are monitored, and as more support should be coming in that area. In addition to that, His Excellency the Vice President, in his own capacity, as he has been going around, has asked that we make available to the 8 communities or the 8 districts that have been affected by the spillage, his personal contribution of 160,000 Ghana cedis, which we are going to give to the regional minister to be used to support the victims in the 8 districts that have been affected. This is in addition to the government of Ghana support.
Reacting to the donation, some traditional leaders of the affected community say more relief items are required.
First of all, I would say that we thank the Vice President for passing through, at least to see whatever is going on. We all heard that he made a donation of 60,000, which is for the people of Sokpe. Honestly, we can't say we wouldn't take it, but it wouldn't be enough for those that have been affected with the spilling. If we look at the community, it's about 5 communities and even more, because yesterday it rained. So the rain had caught even more destruction. So we are now to know where the rain has caused the spillage, and then the rain has caused destruction too. So we don't have any say, but what we would do is, if the government will be able to do more for our people, we are not saying we wouldn't take whatever they are giving to us, but we would need more.
Instead of giving us pure water, we think it's be manageable for them to give us poly tanks and fill the water, or dig for water to flow than to give us pure water all the time. We can't have the pure waters they are giving to us, because it's not even enough for drinking.
With the support of the Volta River Authority and other state agencies, the National Disaster Management Organization is stepping up efforts to reach every affected Ghanaian across the 8 districts. Carlos Galoni, Joy News.
It's a pleasure to have you on this edition of the AM show. Thank you so much for making time to be a part. I'm Bernice Abubeidulan so much. Earlier, you saw my colleague Benjamin Akapo interacting with Dr. Tremie Tiahene on the issues around HIV/AIDS prevalence in Ghana, the availability of antiretroviral drugs for persons living with HIV, and how to reduce infections. It's now time to bring you a quick update on what's happening in the Volta region on the spillage of the Akosombo and Pond dams, which has led to flooding in the area. And this morning I've been joined by Amos Ahosu. He's Assembly Member for the Mepe electoral area. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time this morning. So we understand that the Vice President has toured parts of the Volta region which have been flooded as a result of the spillage. And we also understand that relief items have started trickling in. What can you tell us about what you've received so far in terms of relief?
Yes, thanks so much for the opportunity, and a good morning to your cherished listeners. Actually, we were being heavily supported by NADMO, the National NADMO. The last time the president was also here, Honorable Kudetu Abrakwa, this is his constituency. So he has been supporting just yesterday some rice, oil, anything you can think of, water. He has been trying his best in that area. Philanthropies, organization bodies, churches, they are all helping in their small ways. They are all helping. They are helping. And actually, we started having things, but looking at the situation, we still need more.
We were told that the spillage will likely end anytime soon, but we're yet to receive a concrete confirmation because the rains have still been coming in. What are you able to tell us about the flood situation proper? Is it getting worse, or the water has begun to recede? What have you noticed?
Yeah, actually, it has stopped. Where it has receded before, it's still there, and it's not moving, it's not going back, it's not coming on to. So it will be our fervent wishes that it stays so and go back finally.
Right. So the situation is not getting worse, at least. Right. So how are the items being distributed? We know that there are some people who have moved to safer ground. There are others who are also in shelters. How is the distribution of relief items happening?
Yeah, some of the relief items, when they brought them, they send it to my traditional authorities. They will take delivery of it before sharing it. Other bodies, when they come, they go on their own. Yeah, they go on their own to distribute whatever. Even yesterday, when Honorable Okudetu Abrakwa came with his items, he met with the traditional authorities and then they started the distribution. So that is what is happening now.
Right, and we also understand that there were concerns by one of the traditional leaders in the area about the spread of infections, and because people have to use polluted water for many of the things they have to do, washing and all that. Do you have any relief in terms of medical assistance? The Ghana Medical Association was coming over. We understand that the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana has also made some donations. What can you tell us about meeting the health needs of those who've been displaced?
Yeah, the health need is much needed, much needed. The last time I had a meeting with the health directorate, they've created a mobile clinic for the safe haven. So I learned a woman even delivered there, and they are taking care of the people in that manner. But in another aspect of it is the water that is heavily being polluted now that we can't drink, you can't bath with it, you can't do anything with it. So the health implications that it is bringing now is a very, very big major concern, because it started breeding mosquitoes already. Cholera will come in, typhoid, and other communicable diseases, name them. It's not the best. The situation is not the best. So if authorities are listening and they can assist us in that manner too, fine. Because the health center that was created, at least they need a certain basic tablets to operate with.
This health center, are the displaced persons visiting it for free? Are they being catered for without any charge?
Yeah, actually, if you have a health insurance, you'll be catered for free.
But many of them say that they've lost many of their items in the flood waters. They've lost their health insurance cards as well. So how are those persons being catered for? Do they have to pay to access health care?
Yeah, actually, because the record is there that they have a health insurance card, they will look at it, and I don't know how they are going about it anyway, but that was what I know.
Right. Thank you for your time this morning. Amos Ahosu is Assembly Member for the Mepe electoral area, one of the areas that has been badly affected by floods as a result of the spillage of water from the Akosombo and Bon dams. We will be monitoring the situation. But some persons living along the Volta River in the Bono East region have had to stay on their farms for more than 3 weeks due to floods in the area. They say they are yet to receive relief items from government agencies. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
In the Pro East district are affected by the flood. Faisal is the last among residents of Vutudeke to evacuate their homes after the floods.
The floodwaters have taken over the whole community. I'm the last person to evacuate because my home was on a hill, so I was the last to be affected.
A piece of farmland is cleared for the construction of a hut for shelter. With support from other community members, the wooden structure is nearing completion. Dried grass is used to roof the structure for habitation, but he fears his property may be destroyed should it rain again.
I'm now going to other people's homes for polythene bags to cover my properties. If it rains, I would have to seek shelter from another individual's home.
Faisal's family is one of the over 500 families of Vutudeke to be affected by the flood. Already, some families have completed their shelters. Fanti Ekra is the hardest hit community by the flood. An overwhelmed assembly member, Mohammed, sheds tears.
My house is now filled by victims of flood. We are in need of help now.
Many continue to count their losses as the flood waters are yet to recede. The NDC parliamentary candidate for the area, Emmanuel Kwekubuam, is leading efforts to solicit support for the victims.
Not even the district office of NADMO. They tell you they don't have anything. The region doesn't equally have anything. And please, this is a very serious national disaster. Please, don't let us wait, because health authorities are even warning us of possible water-related diseases. So please, don't let us wait till the unfortunate happens before we can. Some of us have gone to their aid with something small, some water, bags of water, and then places where they can sleep with some bags that they can use for their tents. But it's still not enough.
Joy News investigations have revealed the Pro East District Assembly have been able to secure a piece of land to resettle the Fanti Ekra community. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Right, so just to paint a clearer picture for you, if you're not too familiar with what exactly is happening, it is that the Volta River, which sources from parts of Burkina Faso down through places like Bono, the Savannah region, because you have the Black Volta, the White Volta, and the Red Volta, all coming in, feeding into the Akosombo Dam, which has then caused the dam to overflow. And not overflow, for the levels of the water to rise, rather, I beg your pardon. And then the VRA authorities need to spill. So those in parts of the Volta and the Eastern region down south are having floods because of the spillage of the Akosombo and Bon dams. But those in the Pro East, Savannah, and in the northern sector are dealing with floods caused by the overflow of the Volta River. And so that's just a picture so that you can get a clear understanding of what is happening. But I've been joined by Alhaji Abdullahi Adams. He's the DCE for Pro East. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time. Clearly, the devastation is evident for all to see. Your members or the residents in your constituency have been asking for support. Has any support come, and in what form?
Thank you very much, my sister. Yes, it has been like that. In our part, what we've been able to do for now is to get a place for them to relocate temporarily, whilst we wait for other support from the top, with individuals who have some, and then NGOs. We are pleading with people who have such support for us to come to our aid, as you see the situation for ourselves. So, as an assembly, we've been able to acquire land for the people temporarily. But looking at things, when we got the place for them, they think that place would have been nice for them, so that they don't go back to the place, even if the water situation there is or if the place has come back to normalcy, because it might revisit them. So they will think that where we have gotten for them to a temporary place, they would like to stay there for life. But if it stands the situation that they should stay there for life, we need to go back to Nananum and then speak to them, because I don't think Nananum will give the land to us for free. It should be definitely something. Now that it is temporary, it's something small that will be for Nananum to pay for the place. So we are calling on people through this big media house to come to our aid, so that people...
Sorry, Mr. Adams, if you could just speak up a little. It's quite a struggle hearing you. But I would just like to find out if residents of Pru East or other communities around were informed about the danger ahead with regards to the flooding situation, or it came as a surprise?
I think it is a situation that has been coming anytime there is heavy rains and the river overflows. Those who live very closer to the lake, it normally happens to them. So it is something that has been, this is not the first time we have experienced this, it has been happening. But this time around, this time it has come more than it has been coming. That is why the situation is like this, as we see.
There was no warning whatsoever from NADMO, you didn't receive any indication from the Ghana Meteorological Agency, for example, about heavy rains which would possibly cause floods, right?
Actually, for that one, I can't speak to that. But what I know is that the NADMO, who are in charge of that, they've been doing all these things anytime there's this situation to them. But only
there since the floods began? Has NADMO been there since the floods began?
Yes, please.
Okay, and what have they been telling you? Do you need to evacuate more people? Is the flooding situation getting worse?
Yes, some people, as I yesterday, I went to a place in Yeji called Pentecostanciano. Some of them have been looking at the thing as we see coming, it has not stopped us till now. What appears is that we should expect more. Thank you. For now, those of our brothers who are in the villages too, things have been relocated to the higher grounds as it is. But by then, they have some of their houses being roofed with iron sheets. But the situation as it is now, they are not in a position to do that. So they are living in these grass houses at the higher ground. So we think if you get this iron sheets or whatever, they can rebuild and then get the place fixed for themselves so that they can be happy once again.
So who is facilitating these evacuations in the communities?
Yes, I went to Nananum. But for those of our brothers at the villages where I visited, they have already relocated. The day I even got there, when I got there, their youth were already on the higher grounds, preparing those thatch houses for themselves. But those in town, because it is in town, we don't have a place just behind you to move, because the people's houses are also behind you, just that the thing has not gotten to them. So that is where you need to get a place somewhere. Fortunately for us, we've gotten a place, but it is temporary place for them. they need so many things to be able to make the place very well befitting for them to be able to fit well.
And has any official, apart from NADMO, we know that the MP for the area has also raised concerns, even in terms of averting this in the future, trying to create other pathways for the water, have useful purposes for the water. Has there been any engagement? So for your DCE, has there been any engagement at that level?
Hello, my sister, I can't hear you now.
Can you hear me now, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
All
now.
right. Please, did you get my question?
No, please.
I was asking if there have been any engagements on what to do to avert this in the future. I know the MP for the area, Mr. Kwabena Donkor, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, has been complaining about this situation and suggested ways the water can be useful instead of it causing this havoc. And I'm asking if there have been any engagements about what to do to prevent the water from flooding homes and get other useful purposes for it.
No, my sister, as I said, this is the fact this year it has come down ever. So this is the time that we are now trying to look at how we tackle it in the future. So that is why we are looking at evacuating them completely from that place, because we think that it will occur. So we are thinking of completely, for now, taking them off of that place to the higher ground, so that that place, they don't go back, if even at all the situation of the water is a little bit okay. So that is what we are in for now. But I think we need to engage more so that we see how we can do to stop this thing from occurring in future. So yes, I think it's a good call for us to sit down, stakeholders of this community, so that as I have started, that is why I've gone to see an announcement. I told them, I don't think that that place is a good place for them to be. If even at all the situation is being solved, they shouldn't go back there. And Anonymous have also bought into the idea. So we have started at that level. That is why we have been given. So I've sent my team of fiscal planners to go and then design the place, which they have done. So that is why I'm calling for well-wishers who are looking at us, the NGOs and those who have something in their hands, to come to our aid, because if they have to be there permanently, then we need to take stock with Nanam, because I don't think it will be given to us for free. So that is what I think for now. So that at a higher level, the situation of maybe really looking at the situation of the spillage or whatever can also be talked at that level. But at my level here, we are talking about completely taking them from that place so that we don't experience such a thing again in future, because it has been happening. By this time around, it has been overwhelmed.
Thank you for your time this morning. Abdullahi Adams is DCE for Pru East. And if you just joined the program and you're wondering why Pru East is also flooded, it's because of heavy rains that have caused flooding parts of the Volta River upstream, and which has caused the water levels in the Kosomo Dam to rise, leading to the spillage, which is causing the flooding down south. So it's not only Mepe, parts of the eastern region, Anglon, and the other places that are affected as a result of this situation with high volumes of water caused by heavy rains. Also, one person, unfortunately, has been reported dead and 3,300 displaced in Makango. And this is due to heavy rains that has resulted in the overflow of the Black Volta, which all is part of the Volta River, Black Volta, White Volta, Red Volta. So we have quite a situation on our hands, and we need to touch base with all those who've been affected by the flood. So stay with us here on the AM show. We'll be reaching out to all these communities and finding out how they are coping. You're still watching the AM show. I'll be back with more, especially on the NSMQ. Do stay. It's Some 10 minutes after 9, I'm grateful that you could stay with us here on the AM show. And you know, today is the big day for the 9 schools that have qualified to the semis of the NSMQ 2023. And it promises to be an exciting one. I'll be telling you about the schools that will be competing just in case you've forgotten. But let's go to Kumasi now and touch base with Jacqueline and Somaya Boa. She's been on the ground for us since the prelims started. And she's looking forward to what today's going to look like. Hello, Jackie.
That is the finale. Well, let me start with you. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm fine.
You're fine. All right. But I have one of their trainers here. Sir, kindly join me. How well do you think Achimota is prepared this morning?
Achimota is very well prepared for this stage, and we are ready to give out our best.
But you're meeting 2 girls' schools, and they have some high scoring points. Do you see any threat there?
Well, as you know, with Science and Maths quiz, it's not about scores. It's about answering questions that you get on the stage. You could see what happened with Impraiso and Wesley Girls. You could see what happened to Kufrida Sektek. So it's contest after contest, and you've been able to compose yourself well, answer, and then take advantage of any slip. So that is exactly what we are prepared for.
All right. So what are we expecting from Achimota this morning?
Achimota School is head of all the hosts, the glory of the coast. You shouldn't expect anything but the best.
Anything but the best. Now, I have this young lady here. I call her the face of Achimota right now. How are you feeling? I've been speaking to you several. How are you feeling this morning?
Great.
Great. How confident are you this morning about Achimota?
I'm at the max.
You are the max. What are we expecting from them?
Nothing but the best.
Nothing but the best. Are you sure that today, after the contest, Achimota is moving on to the finale? That's the next stage?
We are prepared and we leave the rest to God. But we are confident and we are hoping for the best.
All right. Now, before I let you go back inside, I know we still have to start the contest. I'll let you sing your school anthem. As in, we all want to be in the spirit right now. So are we ready? All right. So let's go.
To Accra, from Biasu to Kita. We are brothers and our mother is our school. She will guide us all and each soul to learn that we may teach, so to subjugate ourselves that we may rule. Play the game, shout her name, spread her fame afar. She's the head of all the hosts, she's the school of whom we boast, she's the glory of the coast, Achimota. When our books are laid aside and we scatter far and wide, we remember with affection all we gained. How we learn to take a share in their life and labor there, where the men of whom we are proudest of a trade. Play the game, shout her name, spread her fame afar. She's the head of all the hosts, she's the school of whom we boast, she's the glory of the coast, Achimota.
Right now, that is Achimota School. But before I let you go, I want to speak to one of their teachers who is also an old student. How are you feeling right now, knowing that Achimota is right here at the semi-finals today?
It's a great feeling. It's really a great feeling. But one thing I want to say is that we are not underrating any of the schools we are meeting, because to be in the semi-finals, it means you are also one of the best. So we've put in our best, we've trained, and we know at the end of the day, we believe we are going to emerge as the winners of this contest.
Winners of this contest and moving forward?
Moving forward into the finals and coming stronger. I said it in one of my interviews that the trophy is going home. We are the pioneers.
It's been a while. It's been a very long time.
We are the pioneers of NSMQ, and we hope and believe this year will shine.
With what you said, are you not basing on past glory? Because someone will be like, okay, Achimota is talking based on some past glory. That was a long time ago.
Well, even at the early stages when this contest started, a lot of schools didn't believe in us. But you can see we are making progress from contest to contest. So I think things are changing and we will surely shine.
Okay, all right, now that is Achimota School. Thank you guys so much. I also have Wesley Girls, some of the students and the old students, and they also join in today's contest, as I said earlier, with St. Louis and Achimota. Hello, ladies. How are you? Two, she joined. All right. Let me talk to the old students first. How excited are you this morning?
Oh, we are quite excited for the program, the contest to begin.
Well, knowing that your school is currently at this stage, how do you feel about that?
We are excited that God has brought us to where we are right now. So yes, we are quite excited.
All right. Now, you are currently a student. What are the expectations you have from your girls this morning?
Oh, I expect them to do their best, and that with God, their best will be the best, and then by God's grace, we'll win this contest.
Well, there are two girls' schools here today. You, then St. Louis. Do you see any threat looking at St. Louis too? Because in their previous contest, they did exceedingly great. Looking at them, do you see them as a threat in any way?
We are not looking at any school. We are just hoping that we'll win this contest by God's grace.
Okay, what about you?
Just as she said, as long as we have God on our side, we believe that our best will be enough to win this contest.
Now, I keep asking this question, especially to every girls' school that we've had so far. Currently in the semis, you're my first interviews right now. But do you think this year we are having your school being the first female in 30 years? National Science and Maths Quiz has been in existence for 30 years. Do you think you can do that? Because your school has been, this is not the first time you've been to the semi-finals and moving forward. Do you think this year there's going to be a difference?
If it's God's will for us to get to the finals, we'll get there, and then if it's His will for us to win, we'll also win by God's grace.
All right. Now, you are an old student. Just as I asked that, do you think your school would be able to live up to that task?
We are just trusting God for the best.
Yeah, trusting God for the best. I see you want to speak. Do you think your girls' school is making that mark this year?
I agree with her. You're trusting God.
Okay, all right, sure. So thank you, ladies, so much, and I'll see you inside, and all the best too. Now I have the ladies from Louisville. Kindly join me here. The ladies that are taking the flag high, they are hoisting the flag of Ashanti region very, very high this morning. And they were very super excited. I came to meet a lot of them here. Some of you should come right by my side here. How are you ladies feeling? But let me talk to your old students. Kindly join me here. How are you feeling?
I'm very excited to be here because it's not easy to be in the semi-final stage of the contest. So I'm very, very excited to be here.
The last time we saw your school in the semis was about 13 years ago, and you guys are back. How is that? How are you feeling about that? 13 solid years.
That was a great comeback, I would say, because it's not easy. And I'll commend the girls and then their performance. They did very, very well, and we are really proud of them.
Okay. Now, you are currently a student. How are you feeling about this? You've been able to kick out your Ashanti regional champions and also Central regional champions. How are you feeling about all these?
I'm so enthusiastic and excited for this. I mean, it's been so long, and I'm very happy this is happening in my time. I mean, we are ready for this.
It feels like a great win for you.
A very great win. This is our year, St. Louis. This is our year.
This is your year. Are you all agreeing with her that this year a girls' school is winning?
Yes.
And it's going to be St. Louis?
Yes.
By the grace of God.
How positive are we about that?
Okay, we started from the prelims and we've reached the semis, and we are not ready to go back. And we know that God is on our side, so definitely we are going to the finals and we are bringing the trophy home.
Okay. Now, I know this is your contest, but your boys' school is also contesting today. What do you have to tell them? Your boys' school is contesting. What do you have to tell them?
Well, we wish them all the very best, and it would be very nice to meet them in the finals. But then, Dieu le veut, the will of God, whatever God says is what's coming to pass.
Yeah, the old students, you guys strongly believe in the alliance that you have. Is the Akata Slopsa, right? Now, in case, assuming you guys they qualify to the next stage and you meet them, what should they expect from St. Louis?
When we get there, we are going to put the alliance somewhere, then beat them.
Come again.
When we go there, we are going to put the alliance somewhere and fight them. Yeah.
So they should forget about the alliance, cry.
When we get there for a while.
What word do you have to tell them? What do you have to tell your boys? Their contest is the next one. They are meeting city rivals, that is Prempeh College. And what are you wishing? What is something that you want to tell them right now?
I wish them the very best And I would say, as they always showed in their past contests, they should be consistent. And I believe that they are going to sail through. And also, consistency is key. And then I believe that our girls have been very consistent from the beginning. So I believe that Achimota School and then Wesley Girls School are no match for us. And I believe we are going to sail through.
All right, she said they are no match for their school. But I have this young lady here. I spoke to her during the last contest, that's the quarterfinals, and she said something. She was like, now you don't need to underestimate any school. Do you remember that?
Yeah, clearly.
What are you telling us this morning?
The contest hasn't started yet, but we believe that God is with us and we have the favor of God, so we will win.
So are you telling my viewers right now that they shouldn't underestimate St. Louis?
Yeah.
All right. So what are you coming on this morning? What are we expecting from your girls?
The best.
The best. All right. But before I let you go, I want that morale from you girls this morning. I know this morning you came here all enthusiastic, and I must say they are quite a lot in the auditorium right now. But before you go, let's sing your school anthem. Are we ready for that? Yes. Okay. So let's go.
We shall be one. Elevate the will of God. Setting the pace is a hallmark. I am proud to be in St. Louis Senior High School. Utsin Tunum, we shall be one. Elevate the will of God. Setting the pace is a hallmark. I am proud to be in St. Louis Senior High.
Interesting. We see how it goes today between Achimota, Wesley Girls and St. Louis Senior High School. That's the first contest for the day, and as you can see, the contestants are ready. We are just waiting for the quiz mistress. But in studio, I've been joined by Benjamin Tando. He's sales manager for Build Financial Technologies, those who make it possible for us to bring you a live coverage of the NSMQ. Hello, Benjamin. How are you?
Hi, Benny. I'm doing well.
All right, I'm doing good. So Benjamin's school is out at the Saddle College. Sorry about that, Benjamin.
Right off the bat.
Sorry about that. But hey, tell us about Build Financial Technology.
Right. So Build is a fintech. It was started by 3 accountants and then 1 tech genius. I call him a genius because he built everything from scratch. So they sat down one day and decided that the foreign softwares were not giving the local businesses enough coverage with regards to the different aspects of their business. So they decided to set it up somewhere in 2016, came live officially somewhere in 2018. And we've been moving strong. We currently have over 10,000 businesses on the platform, and we've personally worked with a whole lot of them. I personally have worked with over 150 businesses to keep them on track with their business finances.
All right. So tell us how it operates and what kind of businesses you're looking for to put on board.
Great. So with a Build software, it's a cloud-based software. So access with internet connection on your laptop or the mobile app on your phone. Now, when you are on the software, you can monitor your incomes with invoices. You can record expenses. Then we have a POS system for retail businesses as well. So supermarkets, all those people. And then we have a payroll feature. Now, what it does is it will automatically calculate PAYE and SNIT for you and then give you tax and SNIT reports to that effect, making your statutory payments very easy. Then the final thing, so like the crown of the whole thing, is that the software would automatically prepare financial reports for you. Therein, making you ready for investments, loans, any aspect of that as well.
So you don't have to struggle to do all those things. So it's like a one-stop financial app that does everything that you need to do. Fantastic. So if there's a business owner watching us, what does it take to be on board?
Great. So very few steps. You just go to our website, www.build.africa, and then you create a free account. That's
www.build.africa.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you click on create free account at the top right corner, and then you go through 3 simple steps of your first details, second details, and then your business details, and then you're good to go.
Right. So tell us why Build is interested in the NSMQ.
Right. So, we are all past students at my firm, and we're all rooting for our school. But the ideal thing, and I know you're laughing because my school is out, but the ideal thing is that science and tech go hand in hand, right? So we decided to fund the next generation of tech experts from our end, so that in a few years to come, for all you know, some of the geniuses on this context will be in our firm working with us.
All right, so you're interested because, I mean, this is related to what you do. And
Exactly.
So, I mean, you've been around for some time, but I think this is your first time sponsoring the NSMQ,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, are we likely to see more future partnerships?
Yes.
How has it been for you so far with your partnership of the NSMQ?
It's been really, really good. We're getting a lot of coverage, as, I mean, the context is a worldwide beloved. I mean, people here, people in the States, they are all watching. And we are getting calls, we're getting engagement, and we are very excited about what is yet to come.
Okay, Adisco is out, but which school are you hoping to make it to?
You just repeated that again.
Which school are you rooting for?
So I may be a bit partial on this, but I like the colors of Achimota. They're very similar to ours. So I'm hoping they take it today.
Okay, no, but that makes sense. Yeah, because the black and white and the black and white. Okay, I get it. So that's Benjamin Tando. He's sales manager at Build Financial Technologies, and he's been sharing what they do. So they say sign up for free. But what are beyond what I get as, you know, a person sign on to this? What are the other benefits of being on the platform?
Wonderful. I'm glad you asked. So for this particular period, we are celebrating our anniversary just next month. And in light of that, we are offering up to 50% discount for all businesses from now to the end of December. And then that's for our software packages for 6 months and above. And then for our accounting support packages, we are offering up to 20% discount. I didn't mention that earlier. So our accounting support package comes hand in hand. You get the full software in addition to a virtual accountant to help you with all your bookkeeping, your taxes, payroll, all of that. So you get all these benefits. Right. And for those listening or watching today, you get, let me see, for the first 50. The last time I gave over 200. We got a lot of calls. So I'm going to 50 this time around.
Okay.
So for the first 50, we'll give you a little higher than the 50% discount. Those who are calling between today and tomorrow. Okay. And then you get a free in-person setup and onboarding by myself and my beautiful team.
All right, that's fantastic. So give Build Financial Technologies a call. Is there any number to call?
Yes. Yeah. So our number is 0303 947 832. 0303 947 832.
If someone wants to visit your offices instead, they have more questions to ask, where can they locate you?
Yes, so they can locate us as ARS Roundabout, East Legon, first floor of the Meditab Pharmacy.
Right, so that's it. Benjamin Tando, Sales Manager, Build Financial Technologies. And as you can see, the quiz mistress has arrived, and we will be zooming into that contest anytime soon. That one between Wesley Girls Senior High School, Achimota, and St. Louis. And if you've been watching the competition, these three schools have proven that they are a school to watch. But after that, we have Opokuwari School, Pope John Seminary, and Prempeh College. That will be the second contest of the day. And the third will be between Keta SHTS and Fantipim School and Presec Legon. Today, your dial is locked on joy because we are bringing you all these fixtures, interesting ones, right here on the Joy News channel, and it's the NSMQ 2023. Do stay with us. When we come back, we'll be taking you live to KNUST for the competition.